Hello friends, welcome back to another Value Vintage Cards video. Today I wanted to share just a series of what I kind of look at as like this or that's, and just kind of looking at the preferences. And this all started really when I was looking at these couple. And I admit I know centering seems to be like the craze right now, but maybe it's because of, kind of what I focus on, that it's a lot more scarce, low pop kind of things. So it doesn't necessarily really allow for, even a choice. If you find one, you're thrilled. So obviously 1969 Top Steve Carlton cards, there are thousands of, so you could be picky and you can say I prefer this one over that one. But I look at these two and I kind of start to try and distinguish, which one's the great version, which one's not a great version. And I guess based on the way we penalize a card, a 6 and an 8 OC are more or less the same value in most investors' eyes. So, if you're collecting and you're looking at where you're going to put your dollars, those two cost about the same. I'll be honest, I think the 8 OC looks almost the same cut as the 6. I think the corners are slightly sharper, but barely. And for me and what I collect, maybe it's tainted my view, but I don't really have a strong pull towards either one. I sold TVs for a while in my life, and always put like the sale TV next to like the most pristine HD best signal 4K DVD thing playing, so people will walk in and see it side by side. But in reality, if you took the lower cost TV home, you'd probably say it's pretty darn nice, and you don't see it next to that pristine example. So in my world, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I'm good with either one of these. 8 OC, 6. I'm not, probably a 5 is fine. A 4 would probably make me happy. I know at some point you start seeing creases and, corner wear, but those two are pretty clean. And this just kind of was the root of my thinking. Normally my videos are a lot more themed, but this one just got me thinking along the lines of like, a this or that kind of idea. I've done some videos on like alternative options and different things you can collect that would be maybe worth considering. So you have something like that where it's the Joe Morgan standard Topps rookie. I've got that in a SGC 6.5. I think it looks pretty sharp. I wouldn't really want a card any better than that. I wouldn't pay more for it for any reason. And this one, while okay, it is a little off cut. The cut's not perfect for centering people, but it's an O-Peachy. So when you take it kind of the standard, there's lots of them Topps, and you can make it into the Canadian, much more rare version. To me, that becomes a lot more interesting than worrying about the cut in the center of it. So I would take the slightly lower grade, slightly less centered, but far more scarce and tougher to find version every day of the week. And that's just kind of how I collect. I know a lot of people right now are focused on centering, and again, I get it when there's 10,000 of something, but when you're dealing with something that has a lower population, it might change your decision-making process. This one was one I picked up recently, not the 74 Topps. I've had that for a bit, but an alternative. So head on over to McDonald's in 1974 and pick yourself up a McDonald's Padres disc. Neither one's expensive. They're both, even the 9 wasn't expensive. It wasn't a big deal. In fact, the Topps would be more expensive in a 9, but your standard Topps issue, it's ungraded. Probably not worth grading for me. Between the cut, the corners, whatever else, it's not going to get a high grade. This thing's a 9. And actually, it's like way neater than I would have expected. Having the write-up on the back, going through his 73 stats, pretty neat. And the image itself is really neat. Talk about like a young Dave Winfield. So kind of cool. I always like that kind of stuff. And along the same lines, I was fortunate to pick up one of these. Again, not a 79 tops. That is like the most classic 79 tops Ozzie Smith I've ever seen. Centering issues, slightly ding corners, whatever, but that checks the box for me. It's the card to look at. I'm fine. It's not like I'm going to display my Ozzie Smith rookie. But I was able to pick that up too. So instead of going 79 tops Ozzie Smith, you can go 78, which is in itself super cool for me. But it's the Family Fun Center. So back of that's really neat too. Lifetime record, first year in majors. So super cool. But cool image, cool card. If you haven't seen that, you know, so that one shows 78 with his season with the Padres. That one says no major league experience basically at that point. So I don't know. We were having that discussion online with different folks. Is that a pre-rookie? Is that a alternative? Is it not a rookie card? It's just simply his first card. I mean, whatever you want to call it. Who cares, right? For me, it doesn't matter. It's fun. Next up, I will toss in some other sports. I asked folks if there's anything particularly they'd want to see, and my guy Joe said, you know, how about tossing some other sports more often? So let's throw some Jerry Rice. Can't get a better wide receiver than that. And that's his, 86 tops standard. Had to be in your collection if you were my age growing up kind of thing. That's right around the era I think football cards started to mean something. But then you have alternative choices. You can go with the McDonald's rookie. And even stranger, within the McDonald's rookie, there's like color variations. So we've got the black and we've got the green options. Oddly enough, I don't know how I did that, but all three of them are graded as 6s. So, and I think they're all about the same price. So if you just prefer to have something that's a little, less standard tops issue, why not jump over and check out some more McDonald's stuff? It's kind of weird. McDonald's was also the Dave Winfield. So this is not supposed to be the McDonald's episode, but there we are. So little football options from the 80s just to mix things up. And let me stick 80s. I'll go big 80s. No, yeah, I know. Crush me. It's a 1986 Fleer and a 2. Who collects cards in the 80s that are 2s? I do, because I can afford that. And if it's not a 2, you might as well make it a 3. So you get the double combo on that, which is great. That's kind of the standard. What is a Jordan rookie? I think we're showing it, and the sticker option is really cool too. One of maybe my favorite Jordan piece, actually. It's also graded a 2. How funny is that? Why don't I get Jordan stuff ever graded high? I don't know. I think that thing is so neat. I just bump that up so you can see that better. But that is, just hold that. Thing's enormous. 85 Nike promo. The back of it's actually like super cool card type stuff. This thing's rough. I did get one rough. They're not impossible to find at all. They're not as common as, a Topps Fleer kind of card, but in this case, there's definitely probably some for sale at all times on eBay. Sometimes good deals, sometimes not. And then I'm going to toss 3 more in there for consideration. If you're looking at 86 range Jordan options, so we've gone Fleer, we've gone Fleer sticker, we've gone Nike promo, and of course I think these, I think only Beckett's grading these at this point. There's a few floating around there that are others, but these star cards. Remember for a while star was like phenomenally expensive, then it got disrespected. Now it's back to in the discussion of phenomenally expensive, but these are, you know, hundreds of dollars, but not anything you can't afford to collect. And that's in an 8. I got another one that's a 8.5. I liked that image a lot. There's one other image I was trying to get, but have not landed yet, and I haven't even looked for it in a long time. I don't have a ton of football, basketball, hockey, etc. Maybe collectively it's 10 or 15% of my collection. I'm definitely 85-90% baseball, so majority will be that. But there's another choice, and I think I've actually shown that. Maybe we've shown that in a video. 86-87 Super Canasta Spanish sticker. That was one I did not know existed until Mr. Mangini showed that, and I said that's super cool, and I looked it up, and I think this one was literally for auction, like as I looked it up, and I looked up what was a fair price, and it turned out this was able to be had for a fair price. But you know, other than stars, basically everything I have is like a 2 to 3 Jordan. You could definitely go higher grade, but you know, I always go with the philosophy, if I had a, you know, standard rookie in a 5 or 6, I have nothing else probably that I've shown yet, period. So not my style, not my philosophy. Last 2 players that I pulled some stuff from. So let me space these out a little bit. I've shown this one before as well. The old Hank rookie. Got that in a, I think, nice 1. And this other card I just got in today. Actually finalized the last bit to be received on a pretty good sized trade. This is the smaller of the cards I received, but just got that in. So 1954 Johnston Cookies, Hank Aaron. What's really funny is some folks watching this might actually recognize that card. It's been on Facebook, it's been moving around the community, so it'll probably come here to be retired with me for the next, you know, 50 years. But it's not the perfect condition one. But again, these probably sales price wise can go for more similar to what the tops would go for. You don't really get that at a discount, but I love the scarcity of it. The Topps rookie, I feel like you walk into a good solid vintage show, more or less everyone's going to have that Hank. Great card. I mean, why would you not? When there's thousands of them, that's one that people want. That's one that everyone wants to check off the list. Obviously, I have it for a reason. But the Johnston Cookies is one that you're going to walk around and, you know, you might see some at a Strongsville or a National for sure, but it's definitely not the same kind of population as the Topps. So I love that. You know, especially when it's like the same dollars. You get a chance to get something that's a lot less common, a lot more kind of fun and exciting for me, because I like to look at something that not everybody has seen that day or that week. If you look on eBay, there's, you know, a few of those versus dozens and dozens of his regular rookie, and so that's kind of a fun twist. And the last one I'm going to show, that was not the grand finale, but if we're doing the fireworks show on the 4th of July, this would be where you'd start to see all the fun stuff going off. 57 Topps. What's weird is I think I had 4 or 5 of these, and I had some 4s, some 4.5, maybe out of 5, I'm not even sure. But I swapped a lot of them out because I looked at them all and I said, you know what, I want to keep one. The 4s are a pretty decent price jump over the 3, and I think that 3, even though it's an older, you know, PSA number, the older flip, whatever, I think it's pretty solid. The centering's decent, it's respectable, the corners aren't bad, I don't really see creases in this thing. Back of it is fine. I mean, nothing about this card offends me. You know, does a 6 or 7 look nicer? Of course, but that gets the job done, and I can't say that having a 4 would have made me any more, satisfied, happy, or brought me more joy to look at it. So that's where I ended up landing. But that's not your only Frank option. So the other card I think I have shown, I have 2 others to show for Frank. So this one I think I've shown, it's actually it's got to be my biggest Frank card. 1956 cons. So 57 tops is his rookie. That's a 56 cons. There are 16, 14, something like that of those graded by PSA. SGC's seen some, but I mean, you're talking, I want to say this in PSA has 6,500 graded. That in PSA has somewhere definitely sub 20. And obviously if I sent that to PSA, they'd have one more. I'll probably send it to SGC at some point. But it is, to me, I love that. That's, again, you're going to walk around a show and every dealer has that. Great card. Clearly I'm sitting here looking at it. I appreciate it. I like it. But, that's not one that you'll probably see at Strongsville. That is just going to be that scarce. So that's a pretty rare, unique item. And then the next one is one that I actually just got in. I kind of just found out this set existed, and I looked online, and amazingly one was for sale. It's probably not quite as scarce as what grading says, but there's been 10 graded by PSA, and I don't think SGC has seen a whole lot either. So I don't know if BVG has seen these or whatever else, but it is a 1957, and it is a very regional issue. It's a Ohio gas. So it's a Ohio-based. They had Indians players, and they had Reds players. The Indians players, I believe, were more common. The Reds players were pretty scarce, but PSA has only graded 10 of these. So I was able to score a very, very rough, look at that tape mark at the top. Not my preference. But again, this is the world I live in for collecting, is when there's 10, I can't say like, I wish it was centered better. I wish it didn't have, I mean, at this point I'm like, there's tape, that's fine. There's 20 of these that are graded in the world, and I found an ungraded one. So, I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and snag that. I think literally PSA is 10. I didn't even look up SGC, but they're not everywhere. I don't think there's one for sale right now, and generally if there is, it's way overpriced, and it's somebody just doing it for fun, that either hoping that sucker will come along or just doing it to brag and say, look at the card I have. But I feel like a lot of times those sales prices are double reality just because they're not serious about selling it. But the Frank options are kind of fun. So what started off as a this or that options turned into some big stuff. Actually, I'm going to bust out one other. Let me move Frank along. Sorry, this is going to run just a touch longer. There's one other player, and it kind of brings the entire conversation full circle, is this or that. I just got this back, and the reason I got that graded was I already had one. I had a raw one, I had a graded one, and I always know it's easier to make deals when you have something graded. For me, looking at those two, and you're seeing them now as clear as we can get on a camera, is one better than the other? Sure. Is it so different that I would enjoy one significantly and the other one would be a little bit of a letdown to look at? Not at all. In terms of centering and even the edges. So maybe that's the dividing point. Maybe at a 2.5, I start to enjoy a 62 tops, football card. But I definitely want a Mike Ditka rookie in my collection. I'm just, at this point, I'm pretty convinced that I'm going to keep the 2.5 and let the 4.5 go. Actually, let me do it this way. And the other reason I'm going to do that is that's not my only Ditka rookie. So, as you have options, if you want a Ditka rookie, you could also buck up. Instead of getting one in a higher grade, get one that's autographed. That's pretty cool. So I was happy to have that. I want to say that went, even though it's in rougher condition, probably for closer to like the 4.5 value. And another choice, if you want Ditka rookies and want to expand out your options, that's a pretty cool one. I like that a lot. So 62 post serial, obviously hand cut, so the grades I'm not as picky with, but a 4 seems to be a pretty nice looking card. And then not too long ago I also picked up this thing, which is not expensive at all. It's kind of silly, but got the football bucks. So 62 Ditka football bucks. So I will wrap it with celebrating some football. I showed some football, showed some basketball, showed some pre-rookies, showed some oddball stuff, some regional. That's a pretty wide variety of things, but all that kind of got stemmed, and it's just some fun thoughts based on how much does the grade and the centering matter, and then what would you rather have, a nice graded mainstream card, or get something that's a little bit more unique and off the typical beaten path. So a little bit longer video for me. I apologize if that was a bit long, and hopefully there's still some folks with me, but just wanted to share some of those and share some thoughts, and always appreciate the comments and thoughts. How do you collect? Would you rather have the pristine 57 tops Frank Robinson, or the pristine 62 tops Ditka, or would you rather kind of my approach and say it's cool to be able to have the post and the autograph and the Ditka bucks kind of card, and just get some variety, even though if you sacrifice a little bit of the grade, I think you can still find a grade you can live with, unless you're really dependent on grade to bring you the joy with the card, in which case, yeah, get your 7s and 8s and go high grade, and enjoy the fact it's a pristine copy. For me, I always am drawn to the variety, and I love the rare and the exotic and the stuff you don't see every day. So thank you all for hanging out. Please do share in the comments, and again, anything else that you think would be fun to discuss, even if it's just a matter of some good-hearted banter back and forth. There's a few of us that have been kind of just calling each other out and having fun, so appreciating all the community, the support, the fun, and the camaraderie. So see y'all on the next video. Take care.